It's Ash from Super Videos, back for another video for Season 11 of The Walking Dead. This is going to be my death predictions for Season 11. This video has been heavily requested and lots of people want me to go through who I think will die in the final season. Now, I don't think we're going to see many big deaths as far as our core characters, but I do think that we will see high-level characters that some people may not see coming. So stay tuned, we'll be right back with our death predictions. Alright, as always, before we jump into this video, if you're not a subscriber and enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe to join our community. We're on the road to 5,000 subscribers, so if you're not a subscriber and enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe to help me get there. Also, don't forget to share and smash the like button if you are enjoying the content, and don't forget to press the bell to be notified when there's an upload on the channel. One final thing I want to mention is huge news, at least to some people. I have officially created a new Clubhouse account. Now, it's not an account that's specific for the channel, but it's just a public Clubhouse account that I created, and I do plan on doing a lot of chit chat with you guys. It doesn't have to be Walking Dead related, it could be anything. So if you have a Clubhouse account, interested to join us there, make sure to give me a follow at Ash_HM on Clubhouse. You can also just search by Ash HM. I'll put this information on the screen and also in the description. Now, for those of you that don't know what Clubhouse is, it's basically a social media platform where you can actually create a new room where people can join and have a conversation, an audio conversation. So I thought maybe it's a great place for us to do some of our chit chats, so it's not just one directional, so it's not just me talking all the time. But with that said, that's enough of me talking. Let's get into this death prediction video. So I've broken this list down into 3 categories: the yes category, the maybe category, and the no category. Now, I tried my best to include most of the main characters and some of the most relevant background characters and BC list characters, but I didn't include every single character that we know because obviously I wouldn't be able to fit them all on the screen. Now, before we even go into the yes and maybe category, let's start with the no category. This is the category of characters I think are 100% safe or close to that and will most likely make it out of the season. Now, it's an entirely different discussion where they might land in terms of the Walking Dead universe, but as far as the main show's concerned, they are most definitely safe. Or I think they're safe. I'm gonna go through these very quickly. Carol and Daryl, obviously, because they are a huge part of the new spin-off, which is actually called the Daryl and Carol spin-off at this point. So I doubt that they're gonna kill them off. I mean, if they kill them off, it would be one of the biggest pranks anyone has pulled in the entertainment business, because with the big news that came a while back telling us that there's going to be a Daryl and Carol spin-off show, put everyone at ease that Carol and Daryl are most definitely going to survive until the end of the Walking Dead series. But obviously, like I said, it would be a pretty funny joke to pull on fans to just kill one of them off. I don't think they're going to do that, but I would love to see every fan's reaction if they do something like that. Other than Daryl and Carol, Maggie is probably safe, and I'm saying probably because we don't know what's gonna happen with her. There's a possibility that she might join Daryl and Carol, but there's also a possibility that she might remain wherever she ends up at the end of the season. More likely than not, she's gonna survive the series. And also, if she was gonna die, why would they even bring her back? Then moving on to the group that was surrounded by the group of soldiers that we saw at the end of season 10. Of course, I'm talking about the Commonwealth military. This group being Yumiko, King Ezekiel, Eugene, and Princess. I feel like this group is also probably safe. I mean, when it comes to Ezekiel, he does have the cancer, but obviously, based on everything they've set up, it appears that them going to the Commonwealth is the start of the build-up, you could say, to have him get treated for his cancer and actually make it out of the season alive. Eugene is a pretty important character when it comes to the Commonwealth storyline. He's been a pretty important character all along, I feel, and I don't think they're gonna change too much as far as his comic storyline, so he's definitely safe as well. Yumiko and Princess, I'm a bit more up in the air about, but there's a big part of me that feels like they're also gonna make it out of the series alive as well. Moving on to Father Gabriel, I feel like Father Gabriel is probably safe. He's had a great character progression, and I feel like the way they set up his storyline and where we are with him right now, it makes more sense for them to keep him alive than kill him. And obviously when the series ends, they could do a bunch of things with his character if they really want to. I feel like as far as the series is concerned, Gabriel is probably safe. I feel like there's a few other characters, maybe bigger or as big, where their death would be more impactful and it would actually make sense in the storyline in the long term. So I feel like Gabriel is safe. Next up is Negan. I feel like Negan is most likely safe. I mean, they could kill him, but there's a big part of me that feels like they have something planned for Negan as far as doing a Negan spin-off or something to that nature. The Here's Negan episode that we saw in season 10 of The Walking Dead, one of the bonus episodes, was a huge telltale sign that the writers want to keep this character alive and they are planning to kind of expand on his storyline, maybe more than in the comics. So Negan is most likely safe as well. Next up is Elijah. Elijah, of course, is the ninja character that we saw. He was one of the people that came with Maggie. I feel like he's also one of those iconic characters, or a character that could become an iconic character. So I feel like probably not a good idea to kill him, especially because we had a lot of great positive reaction from his appearance and the type of character he is. They could do a lot with him. What they did with him in the bonus episodes was a little underwhelming, but maybe that was because the bonus episodes were not really the place to expand his character and to make us see who he really is, if you know what I mean. Next up, Herschel, or Herschel Jr., whatever you want to call him. He's the legacy character. Doesn't make sense to kill him. He's our new Glenn in a way, so I feel like to kill him would hurt the story long term. He's one of the legacy characters that is most likely gonna stay alive. They might do something with him after the series. He might move on to the spin-off with the others that I mentioned, or he might just stick around wherever he ends up, of course with Maggie. Next up is Judith. Same with Herschel. I feel like Judith is a legacy character, maybe the biggest legacy character, because of course he's the new representation of Michonne and Rick together in a way, so she's probably safe. Same with RJ. I feel like if they wanted to kill off RJ, why would they even have RJ be a character? You know what I mean? So these three legacy characters, Herschel, Judith, and RJ, in my opinion, are the safest characters when it comes to the main show. Now, even if they don't do something with them right away in a spin-off, because they're legacy characters, they could come back in 10, 15, 20 years and give us a new Walking Dead story with one of these legacy characters as the main character. Next, we move on to Rick and Michonne. We still don't know if any of them is gonna make an appearance or be a part of the final season. I'm leaning more towards Rick having some part in it, but with Michonne, I'm leaning more towards them not doing anything with her in the final season. But even if any of them appear, I highly doubt that they're gonna kill them off in the main show. I mean, if they kill Rick, let's say, on the main show at the end of the season or the series, then it makes things completely out of place and complicated when it comes to the Walking Dead universe and the movies and everything surrounding that storyline. So because of that, I'm heavily leaning towards both of them surviving, but it's unclear whether they're gonna actually make an appearance in the final season or not. Now we move on to the maybe list. This is the list of people that I feel could die depending on what they're gonna do with their story and some of the other characters that are related to them or connected to them. I'll talk about that. First up, we have Leah. Of course, Leah is Daryl's girl. They focused on her story and her connection to Daryl heavily, so I feel like because she's not dead and she disappeared, there is a huge possibility that she might return in the final season. There's a possibility that she might not really be who we thought she was, but that's a different story. And there's also a possibility that she might appear at the Commonwealth, which is the big community that the survivors are gonna go to at the end of the season. When it comes to Leah, I feel like if they even bring her back, it's extremely likely they might do something with her to kind of end her storyline. Of course, we know Daryl and Carol are going to be in the spin-off, so if they bring Leah back, then it doesn't really make sense for them to keep her wherever the group ends up, meaning the Commonwealth. It makes more sense for her to go with Daryl because that just makes sense, you know what I mean? So the fact that Daryl and Carol are going together makes things complicated. So I feel like to do that storyline justice and make everything make sense, it makes a lot of sense to kill Leah if she appears. And I feel like it would be interesting to have her be a villain when she comes back and not really be who we think she is. Not gonna get into that because that's a whole different discussion on its own, but I feel like that would make it easier for the writers to kill her off and for the story to kind of go in a direction they want. Next up is Connie. Now with Connie, it's very complicated because she wasn't in the last few episodes of the season. She wasn't really a part of the bonus episodes and she is missing. Of course, she went with Virgil, or Virgil was the person that found her. We don't know what they're gonna do with her. We don't know whether she's gonna appear at the Commonwealth or whether Virgil is gonna do something with her, but what we know for sure is that she's most likely going to be a part of season 11. Now, similar to the discussion we were having when it comes to Leah, I feel like it would make a lot of sense for them to do something with Connie in a way where she dies, sacrifices herself or something, and that I think would impact the story in a positive way where it pushes Daryl in a direction where he might want to just leave. And maybe that's what takes us to the spin-off with Daryl and Carol. Next up is Lydia. When it comes to Lydia, I don't think that they can do a lot with her. I mean, at this point, her only connection is to Carol, Daryl, and Negan. Other than them, no one really cares that Lydia is even around, to be completely honest with you. The only thing they could do with her at the end of the series is have her stay at Commonwealth, which I think is underwhelming and doesn't really fit the story because she's not a type of character that would kind of want to stay there if Carol, Daryl, and the others are not there. The other thing they could do with her is have her leave on her own, or maybe even with Negan. That would be kind of interesting. Maybe she ends up in the Negan spinoff, something like that. Or maybe go to the spinoff with Daryl and Carol. Now, honestly, I don't think they're gonna do any of these three things, which means that there's a high possibility that they're gonna kill her by the end of the series. Next up is Jules, who's obviously in a relationship with Luke. I've said this before, but I feel like they could kill either Luke or Jules and have the others' character development progress in a different way, or the death could push the other characters' storyline in a completely different direction. And for the longest time, I've been, I don't want to say a fan of, but I've been leaning towards them killing Jules to move Luke's story forward. But because they teased at that in the final episode of season 10, 10-16, and didn't actually do it, I'm leaning more towards them not killing Jules and doing the opposite. And the reason why I'm saying that is everyone anticipates that Jules is gonna die because they did that, you know what I mean? So I feel like they're gonna do the reverse and have Luke be the one that gets killed. At this point, I feel like one of the characters from Magnus Group must go. Like, they've survived for way too long, and I feel like they're not invincible, you know what I mean? So one of them has to die, and I feel like Luke is probably the best person to go because he's a fan favorite when it comes to that group. Last but not least is Virgil. I feel like depending on what they do with Virgil, whether they're gonna have him stay a sort of villainous character or become a good guy, they could either kill him or not kill him. It all depends on what they want to do. But even if they make him switch sides and become a good guy, I feel like there's still a possibility that they might kill him. So I'm leaning more towards Virgil actually dying by the end of the season. It all depends on what they do not only with Virgil but also with Connie as well. With all of that said, now we move on to the juicy part, the yes category. First up are characters I think are probably gonna die in the first half of season 11 or the final season. For those of you that don't know, the final season is gonna be broken up into 3 parts or 3 halves, each being I think 6 episodes. So when it comes to 11A or the first half of season 11, I feel like there's a high possibility that they're gonna kill Kelly, Alden, and Cole. Cole, for those of you that don't remember, is one of the people that also came with Maggie. I feel like from Maggie's group, he's the best person to go. One we recognize, but a character that is not really a cool character like Elijah that they could do a lot with. Alden also is a character that could go. Alden I felt like was gonna die every season after he was introduced, so I think it's just a matter of time. Next up, Kelly. For the same reasons that I talked about before, at least one of characters from Magna's group are probably gonna die, and I'm leaning towards Kelly being one of those. Next, moving on to the second half of season 11, 11B. This is where things get interesting. Magna, I feel like, is definitely a goner. They haven't done much with her, and I feel like she slowly moved towards being a character that everyone hates or doesn't really vibe well with. So she's a safe one to throw in there in terms of characters to kill. And then after her, Luke, I already talked about him, so not gonna talk more. And then last is Rosita. I feel like they haven't done much with her, and she's become more of a background character than a main character, so she could definitely die. Also, she is part of a new series, I believe, called Selena, so there's definitely a good possibility that that was her way out. So I feel like there's a big possibility that she might die by the end of the season. Specifically, based on my prediction, near the end of the second half of the season. She might be like a big character death in the second half, like the final episode of the second half, a finale type episode. And then that takes us to 11C, or the final half of the final season in the series. I feel like the 2 big deaths we're gonna see is gonna be in this half season, and it's gonna be none other than Jerry and Aaron. Now, when it comes to Aaron, I was 50-50 in terms of whether to throw Father Gabriel in there or Aaron, and looking back at their characters and their progression, I felt like there was a lot more things pointing towards them killing Aaron. So I feel like that's where they're going with it. Also, there's the thing with Aaron, because in the TV version, they made him look a lot like Rick from the comics. So I feel like maybe they were planting the seeds for having him die by the end of the series. Now, I'm not saying he's gonna get Rick's death, but I feel like maybe they did that because they wanted to kill him and they wanted to do something cool with him that makes fans think of Rick or something along those lines. And of course, Jerry, I feel like, is a character whose death could impact pretty much everyone. He's a fan favorite, so fans love him, so they'll be gutted, but also a lot of the characters love him, so his death would definitely impact a lot of the characters, and I feel like could push their direction in a great way if they do it well. So that's pretty much it. That's my death predictions for season 11 of The Walking Dead. I hope you enjoyed. This was a long one, but this is a big season. It's the final season, so I had to go big with this death predictions. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, make sure to share and smash the like button. If you're not a subscriber, make sure to subscribe to join our community. We're on the road to 5,000 subscribers, so if you're not a subscriber, make sure to subscribe to help me get there. Also, don't forget to follow me on Clubhouse. I'll leave the information in the description so you can go and follow me there. Coming up, we're gonna have a lot of chit chat on there, so make sure to follow if you're interested in that. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you on the next one.